Barbara Goldberg is going to speak to us about Wells Bring Hope. A lot of us are familiar with that. Mastery Circle has donated and supported it for many years now. And but for those of you who are not familiar with it, she'll give kind of a brief background. But I just so admire Barbara and the work that she does. It's making a difference in the world. And so I'll let her tell you more about that. But I'm so happy to welcome you back. Take it away, Barbara.
Thank you, Mary Grace. It's just a pleasure to be here. And I see so many familiar faces, you know. Hello, Bill. And I saw Michael a moment ago, and Mim, and of course, Harvey and Melanie. It's just a joy to be with this group. And it's been well over 10 years since I first presented to Mastery Circle, and over 10 years since you all have been supporting us so generously. Wells Bring Hope has an interesting story that I'd like to share with you, because I know many of you here today are hearing about us for the first time. So what I did was put together a PowerPoint presentation to just go through with you, and also because it has some very powerful visuals. And in the case of telling the story of Wells Bring Hope, it is very much a visual, seeing the people, seeing their living conditions, understanding what happens when you drill a well. So Wells Bring Hope, let's share this screen. Can you all see that?
Yes.
I just wanted to get this full screen. Okay. So we are here in Los Angeles with most of you. We are a 501c3, officially we have our nonprofit status. We started in 2008. Many people are always curious, how did this start? And it's an interesting story because it involved women coming together. Years ago, back in 1993, I started a group called Salon Forum, a networking group that Mary Grace is a part of. And it's going to be started again in January. It took a little bit of a break due to the pandemic. But it brought women together for communication, getting to know each other, networking, and also learning about some interesting things. So we had a guest speaker, and on February 20th, 2008, that speaker was former LA County District Attorney Gil Garcetti, who, after he was, in his words, thrown out of office, went to West Africa at the behest of the Conrad N. Hilton Foundation to understand the water crisis in West Africa. And what moved Gil very powerfully was his realization that water is an issue that impacts most strongly women and girls. They're the ones who walk. In the country where we work, Niger, West Africa, women and girls walk an average of 4 to 6 miles a day, sometimes twice a day, to get water. Now, these women have smiles on their faces only because they're being photographed by Gil. But normally, this is an agonizing process. And girls as young as 7 have to do this. It's the role of women. I remember the first time I presented to a college classroom at Santa Monica College, this one woman jumped up and she said, why is it why do the women have to do this? And these poor young girls, she was furious, and they all got furious. And it was hard to explain, but this is the role, this is the defined cultural role of women and girls. So when people do not have safe water, and in Niger particularly, 1 out of 7 children dies before their fifth birthday from contaminated water. When we started this, by the way, it was 1 out of 4. This is back in 2008. And this is what the water looks like. This is a picture that I took that has become a memory, a continuous memory of what the water looks like. So our mission is very simply saving lives with safe water. And we do that in one country because we decided early on that if we focus on one country, we could conceivably have a real impact. Up until just about a month ago, Niger was the poorest country in the entire world. According to the recent UN Development Index report that came out, Niger is now one of the 3 poorest countries, along with Chad and the Democratic Republic of Congo. So what happens when you drill a well? Here's a typical drilling team. It takes them about 3 to 4 days to drill a well. And these are all locals, either from Niger or West Africa, who are trained water engineers, and this is what they do. We have 4 rigs in Niger, and they travel from place to place. So you drill a well, and child mortality drops by upwards of 70%. And this is one of the most powerful things, one of the, you could call it the end benefits of providing a village with safe water. Girls go to school. Why is that so important? When they stay in school, go to school and stay in school, they marry later, they have children later. They're less likely to die in childbirth. Their children are healthier. They don't get obstetric fistula. And on and on. There's so many benefits. But these are girls, as you can see in this young girl's face. She has dreams. She has visions of her life. And it's not like they want to earn a lot of money. That's not their vision of their future. What they want to do, really want to do, is give back. When you ask them, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? They'll say, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a doctor. The giving professions. And we had the privilege on my many trips to Niger to be in the classroom with these young girls and talk to them and hear the first village we went to, people thought we were ghosts. They had never seen people with white faces before. So it sometimes takes a bit of getting used to, a few minutes, when they realize, okay, this person is not a ghost. They're not going to hurt us, and they're the most beautiful, wonderful children to be around. So they're healthier, they live longer, and they're beautiful, as you can see from these visuals. They're just beautiful people. Now, when women no longer have to walk and in Niger, it's 4 to 6 miles a day, every day, sometimes twice a day in the dry season. When they don't have to do that, what do they want to do? They want to work. They want to earn money for their families. They know that they can do that, but many of these women can't even read or write. The literacy rate is, 65% of women in Niger cannot read or write. So we train them to start their own small businesses. And it's not like they're making jewelry and selling it and making money, even in a big city. What they do is raise chickens and goats and most of all, grow vegetables. Because what's happened in Niger due to global warming is that famines, well, droughts to begin with, and then famines have been coming with increasing frequency. And so when they have a plentiful supply of water, which you do when you have a well, they can grow crops. And a famine comes and they don't die. So another very powerful thing, and we've learned all of this because when we go on these trips to Niger, we sit down in a village with small groups of women, sometimes one-on-one, and we just sit and talk. Now, my former occupation prior to starting this, I was a marketing consultant for Fortune 500 companies, and I moderated focus groups. And so I was used to sitting and talking to people, and this is to women, and this is what we did. And we learned so much, and mostly about their visions, their hopes and dreams for their families, for their daughters. And the women act as role models. This is what's so beautiful to observe. The girls see their mothers working and they say, I want to be just like you, mommy. I want to have a job and earn money, and so that my children will be healthy. And the boys, the same thing. When I get married, Mom, I want my wife to be just like you. So this is what we're not only saving lives, we're transforming lives for generations to come. That's what happens when you simply put in a well. It's so much more than just giving people clean water. And one of the things that was really interesting, we asked them, and these women were truly transformed when they started working and they were earning their own money, because they had never done that. They felt an incredible sense of personal empowerment and a huge increase in their self-esteem. They're just really, really proud of what they're able to do. And we were curious, well, what do your husbands think? You know, and our first thought was, well, maybe they're a little jealous or resentful that their women were earning money and a lot more than they typically do. Because in Niger, in the dry season, which is like 9-10 months a year, the men leave. The women are left on their own to take care of the children. The men leave to go to the cities to try to find work. And sometimes they're successful, they do find work and come back. Sometimes they come back with nothing. And sometimes they don't come back. So that's the reality of women in Niger. So we talked to the men to find out, so what do you think about your wives working? And we were shocked that they were beyond thrilled, because they said, my wife is a changed woman. You know, she's not only sharing this burden. I mean, these men felt so burdened that they were carrying the brunt of having to take care of their families financially, and now they were sharing it with their wives. Their wives were helping. So the marriage then became a partnership. So everything got better. Their relationship got better, the family interactions, their family life got better. And everyone was happy. So truly lives are transformed, as we say, for generations to come. So we continue working with every village for a minimum of 15 years to ensure sustainability. We're partnered with World Vision. Some of you may have heard of them. They are, in fact, the largest humanitarian organization in the world. And we've been partnering with them since we started in 2008. We're going into our 15th year. So why is sustainability so important? In what they call the Sahel, sub-Saharan Africa, after 5 years, 80% of the wells fall into a state of disrepair. And that's simply because very well-meaning people drill wells, but they don't teach the villagers how to maintain those wells. They don't let them know that you guys have to put aside a little bit of money so that when you need a part for this well, you have the money to get it. and you know where to get it, and you know how to do it. So we do all that with these villages. We train them. They all have to contribute a small amount of money so that they are prepared to maintain their well. We don't want this to be, you know, a big brother coming in and we'll fix your well. No, we want them to take responsibility for that. That's a very, very important piece of doing this kind of work. We have a very unique financial model. We direct 100% of every donation to funding wells. And we do that, we're able to do that because Panda Restaurant Group, Panda Express, funds our operating expenses. So 100% of every donation goes to funding wells. So what have we done? 753 wells since we started in March of 2008, impacting the lives of over 750,000 people at a cost of $6,300 per well. Does anybody have any questions so far? So, at the end of 2021, we transitioned from hand pump wells to solar-powered mechanized water systems. Let me explain why that's important. Let's go back to a traditional well in a village that doesn't have clean water. They are pulling up water from a well that is shared by animals. It's not closed off. It is susceptible to all kinds of contamination, and that is the cause of death and disease from bad water. So not only do women have to walk many miles, 4 to 6 miles a day to get water, they have to pull up the water from a deep well, hand over hand, and it is the most excruciating thing that you can possibly think of. It's a daily task for women, just pulling up that water nonstop. Their hands are just raw, and they're in constant pain from that. A hand pump well is better, but it's still a laborious task. And early on, we said to our partners, World Vision, yeah, this is great. You know, they don't have to walk miles to get water. They're getting water right here in the village. But is there an easier way? And we were told, yes, there is, but it's not being done yet in Niger. It's costly, but we think you ought to see it. So at the end of one of our trips to Niger, we went to Mali, to a village called Nonsambugu, and a village of 2,000 people. And they had solar-powered mechanized wells. And let's take a look at that.
As you see, this is one of the mechanized water system we have. It's functioning with solar panel. We have a tank which has a capacity of 40 cubic meters. The population we're serving with this is almost 4,000 and at about 3,600 people. And the solar panel has a lot of advantage over the hand pump because one, even though the hand pump is a clean water, this one can provide water at the same time to many people without any effort, energy. And it is easy to maintain. And when you have a regular maintenance like cleaning the panels, it can last for over 20 years. And elderly people, disabled people, children, old women, pregnant women, all of them can fetch water by just opening the tap, and they have the required water they need for their household. So it's very, very reliable. This is our irrigation plot. It is about 1 hectare. And we provide water from a borehole, which is mechanized. Then we have 2 types of systems here we use. That's one is a drip irrigation system, and one is hand watering. So as you see, this lady is first taking water from one of the reservoir. Reservoir is still filled from the top reservoir we have over there. And people used to have okra, tomatoes, cabbage, and so on here. Yeah. And it's very, very important for us, for the community, because it's easy their work. Before they used to fetch water from a traditional well, they used to fetch water from a traditional well, but now water is nearby and it's easy to just fetch water and water their plots. It is very easy now.
With the new system, new mechanism system, we have water easily. There is a big difference between the traditional well and the new system. Because with the traditional well, you have to pull hardly water to get it. And your fingers, your hands, it's like someone has put fire on your hand. It's not easy. And the water is not very clean like the new system one, because the new system one is protected.
So one of the things that we started doing, just to fill you in a little bit more on these solar powered mechanized wells, what we saw in Mali really moved us. Seeing, sitting and talking to an older woman, probably she was younger than me, but yet they walk so hard, so long to get water. And everything they do involves tremendous, tremendous effort, and they're constantly exposed to the elements. These women really, really suffer and look old before their time. And so being able to just turn on a tap is an extraordinary thing, because they feel like they are not, kind of like animals. That's the way they feel when they have to do all of this laborious work. But I just have to get rid of these little things on my screen. And so being able to simply turn on a tap makes older women particularly feel less dependent upon their families. They don't have to ask their kids, please get me water. There's a sense of independence, which is a tremendous thing. So many health clinics in Niger just have no water at all, not even dirty water. And when women are pregnant and in labor, they must carry their own water to their delivery, to the health clinic. And you think, well, why don't their husbands do it? Why doesn't a friend do it? Again, this comes down to tradition. This is what they're used to doing. So women must walk in labor carrying 40 pounds of water on their head. And so they don't go to a clinic. In many cases, they just choose to have their babies at home, which is not nearly as safe. But when you have clean water at a health care clinic, these women do go, and it helps save lives, their lives, the lives of their babies. So we started funding water projects, $50,000 for one clinic that also serves all the surrounding villages. So bottom line, you wind up with about anywhere from 10 to 20,000 people actually benefiting from having water at a health clinic, because the water is also piped into the surrounding villages. So Kate, is Kate on yet? She was going to show another video. Mary Grace, do you see Kate?
I'm just looking. I don't think so. Let me.
I don't see her.
I don't see her.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe maybe we can go back to that. But we do have a terrific video on the health clinic. It's on our website.
And can I make a comment here, Barbara?
Yeah.
I remember when I first heard about Wells Bring Hope, I had the thought, how much water is there that they're pumping with the wells? Won't that dry up? And you said
An endless supply of
Yeah.
water, which shocked us from underground aquifers. Niger ranks 8th highest in all of Africa of having the most plentiful supply of water. So the water is there, but it's 250 to 300 feet underground, and it requires the use of drilling rigs that cost $1.2 million. So the villagers can't do it themselves. They must rely on organizations like us to get that water. And because of global warming, we saw back in 2015, we saw the effects. We saw a drop in the water table. And this was placing an even greater hardship on villagers. So the need for wells has just become increasingly great. And then with the pandemic, the need was even greater, because what were all of us doing? Washing our hands, right? Well, you need clean water to wash your hands. And so that put a lot of pressure on us and our partner, World Vision. We came through the pandemic really well, all things considered. The borders to Niger were closed, and so it was difficult to get a lot of parts, but we managed to keep one rig open, working throughout the pandemic. And so things wound up being relatively okay. And all that now, that supply line has been resumed. But I want to just switch gears to something really interesting that we did that was a total shock, and a really pleasant one. Because of the pandemic, we're, as an all-volunteer organization, we're on volunteer match. So we get lots of requests of people from all over the world, in fact, to volunteer for us. So we have volunteers in Australia, in Taiwan, all over. And about May of 2020, we suddenly got lots and lots of requests from teenagers who said, we're bored, we want to do something. What can we do? We want to volunteer with you. We had about 40 of those kids. And we said, all right, I scratched my brain and, what can we do? So I decided to teach a course in how to advocate for a cause. Because these are all young people. Obviously, they were coming to us because they wanted to volunteer. And these were high school students. And so we set up this program. It's called the Ambassadors Program, an 8-week program where kids would join us for an hour on a Saturday morning. And I would tell them about consumer advocacy. And we had guest speakers including Gil Garcetti, including a woman who was grew up in Niger, and now lives here as part of our organization as a director of economic empowerment for women. And so we gave these kids homework. We gave them projects. They put together a video for us that we also want to show you. Let me try. Kate may be trying to get on. She needs a passcode. Mary Grace, could you just, can I text her the passcode? Do you have it? Could you unmute yourself? Mary Grace?
It's mastery with capital M. Mastery with a capital M.
Yeah,
That's the passcode.
just an M?
Mastery, MASTERY.
With a capital M. Yeah, thank you, Patricia.
Okay, sorry about that. She should be on in a minute. But we wound up in our fourth session of the Ambassadors Program with students from all over the world. We had 2 young girls from Shanghai, one from Lithuania, and that she came on board just right after the Russians invaded Ukraine. And here we were talking to a young woman whose, country right next door is in great fear of being invaded themselves, and working hard to supply all kinds of things to help the Ukrainians. So we had a really interesting perspective and look on that. But these are extraordinary young people. I have great faith in this coming generation. I really do, in terms of their ability to make this world a better place. And I think the video that we did will show that.
Kate is in.
Okay. Kate?
Yes, hi.
Hi. So do you want to show everyone the video on the health clinic?
Yes, just let me see if I can take the share screen here.
Kate, is
Okay.
that
I'll make her co-host. Maybe she doesn't need me.
It doesn't look like I need it. So can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Kate is our director of operations, the glue that keeps it
Hopefully.
all together.
Can you hear the sound as well?
Not yet.
No.
I think we have to. Let's stop and try it again. I think I have to click something to share the audio. Yeah, here we go. Okay, let me know if you can hear the sound.
Yes.
Yes,
You're good.
thank you.
Ne jiginna n de laban na dɔgɔtɔrɔso la yan nɔ awɔ yan'an ka ji sɔrɔ dɔgɔtɔrɔso in na yan nɔ jiginni kun ka gɛlɛn
kuma dɔw la ji tɛ yen nɔ ni muso kelen jiginna an ka tabali ladilan yanni tɔ kelen ka jigin yɔrɔ saniyani ka gɛlɛn ka sababuya kɛ jiko ye fɔ musokɔrɔba mun bɛ da muso kan tintɔ kan ka na olu bɛ taa ji ɲini dugu kɔnɔ ka na pour que ka yɔrɔ saniya
Depuis le premier jour que j'ai reçu l'information, j'ai été très content. Ce jour-même, moi-même, j'ai dansé. J'ai été très content. Jusqu'à présent, à preuve contraire, je suis très content.
The World Health Organization estimates that the lives of 400,000 babies every year could be saved if healthcare facilities simply had better hygienic practices. World Vision is implementing simple actions to improve water sanitation and hygiene. We install low-cost portable hand washing and drinking water stations and medical waste bins. In the longer term, we provide a clean water supply on premises, latrines, and medical waste incinerators.
Jigini ye ala ka latigɛ ye mais muso fɛn o fɛn min na an bɛ fɛ a ka jigin hɛrɛ la. Mali kɔnɔ n b'a fɛ tɛgɛko yɔrɔ ka kɛ dɔgɔtɔrɔso bɛɛ kɔnɔ ani ji ani safinɛ.
World Vision is working with governments, the Conrad and Hilton Foundation, the World Health Organization, the CDC, WaterAid, and other partners to ensure that all healthcare facilities have clean water, safe sanitation, and hygiene. By 2020, World Vision will provide safe water, sanitation, and hygiene in thousands of healthcare facilities. Join with us to help save lives and reduce illness.
Ni muso jiginna an tɛna problème sɔrɔ tuguni parce que an nisɔndiyalen don an bɛna ji sɔrɔ.
So we have funded 4 of these health clinics at $50,000 each, serving each, as I said, each health clinic serves between 10 and 20,000 people. And now we're starting, we just are halfway there to get to funding our 5th health clinic. So let's take a look at a video that the ambassadors, the very first group of ambassadors did for us. They all were required to do a video project, to make their own video. And what we did was pull together pieces from each of those videos to create one story from all of these young, terrific young people. So Kate, can you share that video?
Yes.
Thank you.
How long is the video?
3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm having an issue. Give me a second.
Why don't we use this time for questions? Anybody have any questions or comments?
I have a question. Actually, I have a couple. Well, thank you so much for who you are and what you do and sharing that with us. It's really been eye-opening. Okay, so I have 3 questions. So some people were afraid of your white face and so on. With this the whole idea of getting water with a well, did they think it was magical or demonic or anything like that? That's one question. Another is, how long does it take to produce a well? How many weeks or whatever? And the third question,
let's do them one at a time. Can we do one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay. So no, they saw nothing demonic about the water itself, Carol, and the idea of giving them water. This is something that they've prayed for a very, very long time, in many cases, watching their children die. That's why, when we get money in our bank account, it doesn't sit there very long, because we know, and I'm the one who writes the checks, that if I wait a week, there will be children who will die from contaminated water. So literally every minute counts. So they do not feel afraid. That they very quickly understand that, yes, these are the people who are really going to help save the lives of our babies, of our children. And I'm sorry, the second question?
How long does it take to make a well? And after you make the well and you send the water to other towns, are some of the men in the village able to get jobs laying the pipes and so on?
No, the villagers don't have any part in laying the pipes or doing any of that heavy work. They do build latrines. We teach them how to do that because, and I didn't really talk about this too much, but water is just the first step, Carolyn, giving them clean water, but teaching them good sanitation and hygiene habits is really critical. And that takes a while. It doesn't happen overnight. That's the hard part. The easy part is drilling the well. But because they have water, what happens to the men is that the men don't leave the village as they typically do. They stay. And they tend the crops. They help grow crops and they sell them in the local market. So it's just a total win-win for the families. And whatever else, raising chickens and goats, typically the women take the lead in that, but since the men don't have to go away, they participate in all of those things as well.
Wow. Can we roll the video and then we do some questions, please?
Hello to everyone watching. My name is Isabella Hall. I'm 16 years old and I am a Wellspring Hope Ambassador.
Hi, I'm Callie Lowry, an ambassador for Wellspring Hope.
Hi, I'm Lizzie Hedeman, a Wellspring Hope Ambassador.
While we can reach safe drinking water in a matter of seconds, the women in rural Niger walk for about 5 hours each day in search of safe water. Niger is the poorest country in the world. Over 11.5 million people live with less than $1 per day. With vulnerable living conditions, 1 in 7 children die before reaching the age of 5.
Put yourself in the shoes of a Nigerian woman, waking up at 4 a.m. every single morning to walk miles upon miles to contaminated wells in dangerous conditions just to provide some drinking water for your family and babies. To be completely honest, if I was in their position, I probably wouldn't even be able to last a week, and I'm sure you wouldn't either.
Why I choose to support Wellspring Hope is because girls my age, and often younger, they would already be married off and with children. And this provides enough health issues in itself. They do not strive for an education. It is my choice to make a difference. This is why I support Wellspring Hope.
After these wells are drilled, not only do girls start going to school, but women are also able to start small businesses with the help of Wellspring Hope's amazing team.
Wellspring Hope does exactly what the name says. The organization, first of all, donates all of their funds completely to water wells. Even a single drop of water or a single well, what that does for the people of the community is amazing. It reduces mortality rates. It allows more children to thrive and reach their true potential. But to think about having somebody my own age be married off because the family doesn't have any money, I think that's just really hard to think about. And I think even $1 makes a difference, and it's so important to give to people who are not as lucky as us.
Thank you. We have 5 minutes for questions.
I know Mac has his hand raised.
All right, can I comment now?
Yes, go
Can you
ahead.
hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
All right, it's not so much a question. much more appreciation. While you were speaking, Barbara, my eyes were filled with tears because I am living in West Africa and I've gone through these conditions you have been talking about. I had to wake up very early with my brothers and sisters to go look for water. And today, even as an adult, we are still going through so much water crisis. But the sad part is Africa is rich. We have so many things that give us money. But our leaders are very corrupt and they steal our money and save it in different countries for their personal use instead of using this money for their people. So when I see somebody all the way from the West, together with a team of people helping us back here in Africa, I just want to say thank you on behalf of everyone who does not know about the wonderful work you are doing for us in Africa. And I would like to tell your story through any means, on radio, write about you on the papers and the work Wells Bring Hope, the work you are doing, not for anything, but just because your story can just inspire somebody to do the same thing. And thank you so much for all the support and the help you are giving to Africa. God bless you.
Thank you, Mac. Thank you, and thank you all of you. We never give money to the government. That's why we are partnered with World Vision. They are so efficient and caring. I mean, when we've gone into villages, we talk to the well drillers, you know, the guys who are there on the ground working with the villages, and they take such pride in being able to do this work to help their people. And there is no greater joy that I have ever experienced is what happens when you actually are there on the ground and the well comes in and the villagers celebrate because they know that this will put an end to death and disease and their children dying. The first day that I got to Niger, the very first village, first woman I talked to was a woman named Halima. I don't tell the story much because it's painful. She lost 11 out of her 12 children due to contaminated water. And we came back 3 years later after we put in the well, and I very much wanted to see her and talk to her. And she said, now I am at peace because there will be no more women in my village who've experienced what I experienced, losing so many children. This is not going to ever happen again in our village. And the more you keep doing this, the more people who will be now like me. So she was joyful. So it's you should all be very proud of yourselves, all of you in Mastery Circle who have over the years, over 10 years, have supported Wellspring Hope, and we thank you for that. And Mary Grace leading the way, a beacon of light. She is truly extraordinary. And Harvey Schwartz and Melanie have been such strong supporters. We thank them. They have all of you have been wonderful, and we thank you. Thank you for the privilege of being here to talk to you today.
Barbara, can you answer one question? Thomas Griggs has a question for you.
Yeah, thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Barbara. This is magnificent. I love the name of your organization. I wanted to make sure that you heard what Max said. He has a radio show, and I think he's saying he would love to have you on the show. Is that right, Max?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So he has quite a following, and so the two of you could connect. I want to make sure you heard that.
I did not. Thank you.
So get up with him. Maybe put your contact information in the chat, Max, so Barbara can retrieve.
I'll connect them. I'll connect them right after the meeting.
Great. My two questions were: how many volunteers are there in Wellspring Hope, and how many trips to West Africa do you make per year?
We have about 60 volunteers from all over the world. doing variety of things. Anybody who wants to volunteer, we welcome your participation. We're involved with social media. Anything that you can do to help spread the word. Go onto our website. We have some terrific information there, and a YouTube channel as well. More really phenomenal videos. Fortunately, because we are partnered with World Vision, we do not have to go to Niger. We go because we want to interface with our local partners. That's a really important thing. And to get material for videos, for social media, and most of all, to sit and talk with the women as we have always done. We have not been able to go since the pandemic and because of terrorism. The terrorism has changed the areas where we work. The sad news is that fortunately there are many areas in Niger that still need water. So shifting our drilling rigs from one area that's very dangerous to less danger still enables us to continue to do our work, but that is an issue. That's an issue.
Thank you.
We need to wrap up. Thank you so much, Barbara. Such an incredible presentation. It's eye-opening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it.